Hi everyone, I'm Orc and I make minis in HeroForge. This mini was made for another person. This was again part of a celebration of getting to 100 followers on Instagram. 3 months later or something like that, I am now revealing this mini. So with this mini, again, I was working with a description. So, what I knew about the character. I knew that the character was an elven monster hunter who can never seem to get enough sleep. So because of that, we have a bit of an insomnia situation under his eyes with almost comically big eye bags. Then we know that the environment was ash and mist shrouded world. So for that, I just kind of painted the rocks a little bit uh, in the color of the ash, and then I tried to emulate a mist-like environment with the lighting and with the memory of the ghost here. His backstory is that his family was slaughtered by monsters, which is why he became a monster hunter. I don't specifically know if this event of his parents dying was while he was a child. I just kind of assume so because that's kind of like the usual. I was playing around with the idea of the mist, and sometimes when you look into the mist, it may feel like you see something. So I kind of wanted to create a bit of a misty memory of the tragic event that happened when Sylro lost his parents. And I kind of wanted to portray it maybe as a memory that he doesn't want to think about. He's turned his back to that memory. He wants to forget about that memory. I mean, we as people sometimes have certain memories we want to get rid of. Most of us don't have a Batman backstory. Then we have his hair, which is dark and choppy, full of sticks and leaves, and his droopy ears just poke out from his mess of hair. So I felt like hair was pretty damn important for this character. The hair is actually just made of a bunch of different hairs put together. I believe they're all the same. Yeah, they are all the same. I believe I'm using the hyena hairstyle to create this sort of an effect. I believe this is 7 hairs put together. And then I made some leaves poke out. These are either a branch with leaves specifically from ribbit pack, and the leaves are just either individual leaves, and this stick specifically here without leaves is, I believe, a wand. And his eyes are a faded blue-gray and sunken with dark circles beneath them. So we've already kind of spoke about the eyes. The cloak he wears is a dark green that has faded over the years, and his clothes all seem to have rips here and there from close encounters with the monsters he hunts. So yeah, we have a bunch of rips and tears in his clothing. And the way I made the cloak is I made it from 3 different cloaks. One here, one here, and one here. So if you want to create this sort of a cape, that's how you can do it. You simply grab these points. So instead of these points being spread out to the sides, you just make it like a sort of a hook, as you can see here. So that's how you can kind of do it. His cloak has a dark makeshift hood attached as well as a loose scarf-like collar covering a deep purple scar on his neck. So this guy has got some scarves on him, and he also has a makeshift hood. I don't really get to use this hood a lot, so this is pretty fun. And fastened to his collar is a polished raven skull. So this skull is made out of like, see, this is like a normal mammal skull, but I just simply attach like a horn to it, and that's how I kind of made like a raven skull. Oh, and about the scar, he does have here like a deep purple scar. It's very hard to be noticed, so yeah. So we got like two fun angles for the character. And yeah, let's take a look at some of the previous versions of what Sylro looked like before. So in the first iteration of Sylro, this was mostly about trying to find appropriate clothing for him. It was then immediately followed by building the haircut for him. And then I started face sculpting him so that he has like elven features. Here we can see the first circles under the eyes, and then I started posing him. Started working on the facial features, and I put in the first branch. For his PTSD memory, I copied his model because I wanted him to have the exact same facial features, except for the eye bags, which would be edited out later. So here we have a small Sylro. At first, I was thinking like the child ghost memory of Sylro's trauma could maybe be reaching out to his adult self, you know, for help that he didn't receive. But then I just kind of like switched the model around to face the other way to look helpless. Then I gave the child what I thought was appropriate clothing and also some hair. And then I just positioned the child so that it's like suffering from the moment it is in. And I thought it was also just kind of appropriate to like put Sylro on the rocks to maybe make it seem like maybe he's looking at some sort of a monster down there or something. Like he's scouting. He's doing a perception check. But also it's just like, you know, him trying to be beyond his trauma, even though it never leaves him. So then I started working on the cloak, and at first I was trying to just use only one cloak, and that was very, very difficult. I mean, you can see me here trying to like use it effectively, but it just ended up looking incredibly messy instead. So then I was thinking that I would like put a sort of a capelet on Sylro, and then I would make cloaks flow from under the capelet, which I then changed up for this one because this one felt more appropriate and more wild and more damaged. It's a kind of like a very meticulous work. You're just kind of like trying to make sure that this part of the clothing is above this one. Then I put in the second cloak, and then I needed the last third cloak that would put these two cloaks together. And you can see the work in progress. I then painted the cloak with the color, and then it was time to finish up the hair for real. The hood on Sylro is kit bashed, and I kit bashed it kind of like for the ease of editing. And once the hood was set in, it was time to finish up the hair. I was making steady progress on the hair, made his ears a little bit more droopy, maybe a little bit too droopy. I think here he started looking a little bit less like an elf and a little bit more like a fawn. Here, I was like trying to find a horn that would look like a beak, potentially. And I gave the skull a nice polish. Now, one thing that I felt like was a little bit inappropriate was this area with the knee showing. So HeroForge added like socks, which is like pretty damn awesome. So this thing right here that we see here are actually like thigh-high socks, but like the idea is I just don't feel like a monster hunter would be walking around like this. So to me it felt a little bit more appropriate that there is like something, you know. So it's not necessarily him wearing like thigh-high socks. Maybe this is just like the material beneath the trousers. Though I know some of you would probably enjoy if these were like thigh-high socks. Then I felt like I could add something to his side, and I just ended up on something very simple. Then I started fixing the colors of the cloak because I couldn't have this be green and this be green. It just looked really off. And we were near finish line with this model. And as a sort of a last detail for the cloak, I included a decal. Now you can also just like do this sort of a decal very easily if you when you apply like a decal on a cloak and then you like copy paste the color of the cloak, like let's say here, then you apply it to the decal, and then you just like play a little bit around it. You like can like very easily end up on something that is just very pleasant looking. I actually feel like this might be looking better overall. So yeah, that's it for Sylro. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed the character. Alright, take care and